noticed in the reading today of the gospel, the blind man has no name. He's called a sinner, a son, a disciple, a beggar, even this man. And if we were to be gender neutral, any one of us could fit into one of those categories of the blind man. He has an eye problem. The reality of physical darkness. He's been blind from birth. Cannot see. But some of the people who gather around him, particularly the religious leaders, they have not a physical problem, but they have a soul problem. Like the woman at the well last week. A spiritual darkness within their lives. But if you look at the story, everyone in the story is struggling. The blind man is struggling to see what's outside. The others are struggling to see what's inside. The inner see, that struggle to believe. I think of how many times I've had somebody come into my office and just break down in tears. Say, I have lost sight of who I am. I've lost sight of all that really matters in my life. There's times I've said that to myself. Sometimes that inner world of darkness can be so terrifying and frightening. And the greatest struggle that any one of us has is in being able to confront the illusions or the appearances of life that somehow lead us down that dark path. Even in the first reading, Solomon tells the king not to judge by appearances only. The illusions and the elusive promises that surround us in our culture, so many times they result in our frustrations, our fears. Sometimes those illusions create the obstacles in our daily living, result in the failures, in the disappointments. They affect the way we make our decisions and the choices we make, and they lead us continually down that wrong path. I just didn't see it coming. How many times have you said that? I just didn't see it coming. St. Paul tells us we need to put away and put aside the deeds of darkness. Because so often we can be blinded, or we are ignorant, or we refuse to accept, or we are deceived, or we lie. We live within that. We live within that darkness each and every day, somehow believing that at the end of that path of darkness there's going to be a light. And it just seems to get darker and darker and darker. Our preconceived notions surround our lives and determine what we do. So during Lent, we are called to revision ourselves, revision our lives as God's people. We are supposed to be getting in touch with the things, with the reality of our lives that make sense, that are true and non-elusive, that somehow can ground us each and every day as we go forth. I think that's why Jesus used the clay in the gospel today and his spit. It's pretty down to earth, clay and spit. Can't get beyond that. The earth, both feet on the ground in the real world. But it's in this real world that we live each and every day. It's in this real world that we struggle each and every day. It's in this real world that we're challenged each and every day. And so the healing that we ask, the healing that we come and ask for here today, is the healing of that inner vision. That inner vision that can help us to see God's actions in every day of our lives, in our families, with our children, in our marriages. The church itself right now is struggling. We all know that. We can pretend it's not, but it is struggling. The Cardinals are over there in Rome struggling. But we're struggling because so many times, you, I, the church as a whole, our families, what we do is we struggle to seek God's way, and so many times we try to make God's actions fit into our agendas, our own personal agendas, and we make the circle just too small. God has so much more for us, so much more in store for us. And God sees differently. God sees differently and wants us to see the world the way God sees the world. So like the man with no name, whatever your name is, Jesus wants to restore that inner vision to you. And I pray that sometime this week, when you're walking down the street, driving down the street, going into the grocery store, walking into your home at the end of a busy day and a frustrating day, the children are driving you absolutely crazy, that somehow you'll be able to say, I once was blind, but now I see.